I'm looking forward to, God willing, everything just goes the way it's supposed to go, and just trusting that, and just going out there and being myself.
Kehinde Babatunde Victor Oladipo, born May 4th, 1992. It's difficult to explain how I felt the first time seeing Victor Oladipo play at Indiana. The best way is to compare it to the first time seeing Dwayne Wade at Marquette. He was just different, like steps ahead of everyone else, and could make his way to the basket at will. No, he didn't tear down competition like my most recent feature, Jimmer Fredette, but when he decided to put his head down and create offense, there was no defense that could stay in front of him. For this reason, he was selected second overall in the NBA draft, ahead of all-stars Rudy Gobert and Giannis Antetenkunmpo. For the most part, that pick was well-deserved, as Victor became an all-star himself in back-to-back years in 2018 and 2019. 2017-18 was a career year for him, as his potential finally reached what would be his peak in hindsight, averaging career highs nearly across the board. 23 points, 37% from 3, 34 minutes a game, and 2.4 steals a game, good for best in the league by a significant number. All-NBA team, All-Defensive First Team, and the Most Improved Player award. But not only was this the most productive season for Victor, one that illuminated what Oladipo could do in the NBA after 4 years of scraping the ceiling of his potential with Orlando and Oklahoma City, it would also be the final year of him being fully healthy in the league, and since then, it seems his story got more and more difficult to watch, and sad to see him explain to JJ Redick how big a toll mentally the last 4 years of his career has been. In that span, Oladipo has played no more than 36 games a season. In 2021, playing for 3 different teams, sometimes traded without him even knowing, and just last year, only played in 8 games with the Miami Heat. Nowadays, when he plays, he doesn't have that burst of speed on his first step like I saw at Indiana. Instead, you could tell he's playing not to injure himself again, and he said just as much in his Old Man and the 3 interview. Whenever he gets the ball now, I hope it's on a catch-and-shoot 3 or assisted layup, because you never want to see a player sidelined because of something like his body not holding up. The saying is, injury is a part of the game, but why? You wish it wasn't, but that's not reality. No one understands that more than today's feature, who at just 30 years old, I'm not sure how much game he still has left in that body. He signed a 2-year deal with the Heat this past summer, and who knows, that could be the last for Victor Oladipo. What happened to this promising young talent? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man.
Y'all ready to keep this thing moving?
Victor Oladipo is a 6'4" shooting guard, point guard, born in Silver Springs, Maryland, and a first-generation Nigerian immigrant. Growing up, things were challenging, but he says the most trying aspect was making sure you made something of yourself with all the distractions going on around you, and a family that didn't know many people, just getting comfortable with the customs of their new country. Oladipo wasn't exactly a great player in high school either. As far as high school rankings go, 144th overall and 41st best shooting guard in the country. A 3-star recruit that chose the biggest name school recruiting him to take his talents. At Indiana, he wasn't exactly eye-opening either. That's only if you look at his game on paper. But to the eye, like mentioned, Oladipo was great for the next level. He had solid height for a point guard or shooting guard, explosive first step leading to drive-by pull-ups or equally explosive finishes at the rim. What scouts liked most about Victor was he improved every year and was one of those rare talents that could be a fit-in player with other greats or be a featured guy if the situation called for it, which looking back is exactly what his NBA career has been. He was taken second overall by the worst team in the NBA and 20-win Orlando Magic prior to him arriving. Stunt number 1, an injured all-star. Victor Oladipo came into the NBA in 13-14 and immediately became a great example of how different college basketball is from the NBA, and how some players just have a game more suited for certain levels. He averaged 14, 4, and 4 and played a career-high 80 games as a rookie, earning All-Rookie First Team. His second season was a vast offensive improvement, upping his averages to 18 points a game, shooting an improved free throw and three-point shooting percentage, only missing 10 games in another successful year. He took a step back in his third year, enough to prove at that point he wasn't the franchise player many expected him to be by then. He was a good second or even third guy, not the superstar the Magic picked at number 2. After the 15-16 season, Orlando traded him to OKC in exchange for Serge Ibaka. He became the second leading scorer behind Westbrook, but still yet another step back from where he was in his second year. That only lasted 67 games before he was traded once again to the Indiana Pacers, which was the best thing that could happen to his career. It's also the place many of his lingering injuries began. In his first season with Indiana, Victor went off. He played 75 games and became an all-star for the first time behind multiple Eastern Conference Player of the Weeks and career nights like the 47 he put on the Nuggets, multiple 30-point games, and leading the team to the playoffs in his best pro season. In 2018-19, Oladipo was expected to take the next step once again and build off expectations and his $85 million extension. But on November 17, 2018, he experienced his first significant knee injury, leaving the game and missing the next 11. He returned December 12th and played long enough and well enough to be named to back-to-back All-Star games, even though he was out for the rest of the season with another injury, this time rupturing a quad tendon on January 23rd. Stunt number 2, another setback. The quad tendon injury 2019 was arguably the worst for Oladipo. Your first major injury is no question a setback, but it being your first, you're optimistic about your return, as one major injury does not mean the end of your potential. But to come back, start to feel like your old self again, and have another major injury that forces you to miss a great deal of time was the worst ordeal Oladipo went through in his own words. The first time was tough, but the second, life-changing, he says. It completely changed his game because he became hesitant to play the same way he did. For example, he wouldn't drive much going left any longer and wouldn't stop as much going that way, relegated to figuring out other ways to be effective. Much different from finding ways to be great like the path he was on mentally much earlier. He even says it led to depression and being at the lowest point of his life where he almost gave up emotionally. A quote, dark place where retiring was even an option. His career was never the same. Stunt number 3, what's left? The most difficult aspect of getting over injury is it changes your mentality and also how you're viewed in a sport like basketball where your body is your tool. You begin second-guessing everything and nothing changes that except time and doing the same moves that got you injured again without consequence. But Victor has yet to get to that point, physically or mentally, and the worst part is it doesn't look like he ever will. Since 2019-20, he's played 41 games and you can tell he's not the player he once was. At 30, he looks old, sad to say, like he's in the final year of an NBA career, and that's not that far-fetched to say. In his last 2 seasons with the Heat, he averaged 12 points a game and by the looks of it, just trying to make it through the season. All in all, Victor Oladipo had the chance to be a great player with the talent he entered the league with. He did receive the opportunity many don't on his journey, but the leading cause of growth stunts affected his game and made him a shell of his former self. Can he bounce back and meet expectations once again? Not likely, but I hope so. In no way do I consider him a bust. He proved he could be one of the best players in the league, he just couldn't dodge injury, and for these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute, much respect, it's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.